Okay, Mr. Hannah, do I have your consent?
Fully. Oh, do I have to hit something?
No, not at all, man. Just got to get your consent and things are going to get a little bit saucy and spicy.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I consent.
Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video here on the channel. Now today I'm going to be talking the upcoming Elm Street 4K box set that is due out at the end of the year and essentially just what I want to see, but I couldn't do this alone. I needed to enlist the help of an expert, someone who loves physical media, who thrives on physical media. I'm still learning a lot about physical media and I have this man to thank with my physical media education. With that, I'd like to welcome to the channel our old pal, Planet CHH, aka Christian Hannah. How you doing, man?
My brother, what's going on? It's good to connect with my friends from Australia.
Yeah, it's been because I was on your channel a couple of years ago. I think it was like 2 years ago.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and I hadn't even started this channel. I was still, with the Cosplay Chris channel and in the apartment in the building next door. And now we moved into a bigger apartment next over, so that makes things a little bit easier. But dude, yeah, like I said in that intro, I'm really starting to get into physical media now because of you and also like Frank and Darren over at the Slaughtered Lamb. And I think it's such a beautiful thing that people are trying to preserve physical media, like old physical media. And you have quite the collection with VHSs, laser discs as well. You taught me a lot about the Elm Street laser discs, which I want to talk about in a bit with this 4K box set.
Hmm.
Is there a certain movie or piece of physical media that started your obsession and collection?
Yeah, like when it comes to like modern stuff, like when I mean modern, I mean like DVD and Blu-ray and all that. Dude, honestly, it all started with uh kind of Elm Street 2.
Mm.
Like when my mom got me that from Blockbuster, and I watched it and like I loved it so much. I've told the story 1,000 times, so I'll just tell it really quick. My mom, I went to Spirit Halloween in high school, which I don't think you guys have those yet, but I think eventually
Mm.
y'all start getting them. That Spirit Halloween's getting so big. But I was like 16, 17, and I went to Spirit Halloween and I saw the Jemmy animated Freddy and all this. And I was like, Mom, I want to watch those movies. Get me Elm Street she worked right next to a Blockbuster at the time. She brought me home two because somebody rented one. And I loved the movie so much. I remember I watched it and immediately started it over again as soon as it got done. And then like I had a job at the time, like a part-time job. And what happened was I literally loved it so much. I was like, I want to go buy that movie. I wasn't like a physical media person at all, but that movie and horror made me like want to covet those films in a way that was more than just like seeing it or thinking I wanted to own it. So
Mm.
that all happened really at the same time. So that and then Friday the 13th, huge. Once I bought all those movies, I was like, I became obsessed with owning the films, and I learned about special features and documentaries, and yeah, right then there. But Elm Street 2 is really the catalyst for my entire horror fandom.
I love
With
that.
collecting physical media, the movies, all of it was Elm Street 2.
Amazing. I love that. And I love that Elm Street 2's had such a nice little resurgence and renaissance and appreciated for what it is these days. And actually, it was funny because I go back now and then and I watch like it like your content is a lot of like comfort for me, like Slaughtered Lamb, all those guys, and your home media Elm Street series, covering each Elm Street with the different variations of physical media. And
Uh-huh.
at the end of your videos, when you go through the international ones, Cal Map, all that stuff,
Yeah.
there was the Aussie one, and you were like, "Oh, I don't know if this is the one of the original Aussie releases, but it had New Nightmare Freddy on the front." And I've been meaning to tell you that's actually a bootleg. That's a very famous bootleg from Australia. Because in the early 2000s, I don't know why, I don't know what kicked it off, but you'd go to every Westfield here in Sydney, and there'd be one of those pop-up stalls with bootleg VHSs, and they had the whole Elm Street collection. And that's essentially where I watched all of them. Like those
Uh-huh.
particular VHSs is where I watched all of the Elm Streets for the first time, and they were dark. Like the transfers were so dark. So watching Elm Street 2, I could barely see what the hell was going on. But that original one with Wes Craven's New Nightmare Freddy on the front, yeah, that's the bootleg version of the first one. Because you were like, I don't know, this is weird. This is like the OG one, but New Nightmare Freddy's on the front. So that was an early 2000s bootleg.
Are they collector's items over there now or no?
No, you find them on eBay, and people will charge a ridiculous amount because they think they're the OG Australian releases, and they're not. Like like if you ever saw the transfer, it's so dog shit. But yeah, people think they're just the like official VHS releases, which I've got behind my Freddy bust there. They go for quite a lot now because we didn't really make many back in the day as opposed to the US. And I wanted to show you this as well because you did a video on it. I couldn't believe this got released in
Boogeyman.
Australia. And of all places, I found it was a high-end department store in my local Westfield called David Jones. It's a bit of a bougie, posh department store. And when they had the physical media section back in the day, and this is when I was in grade eight, so 2002, I went there just looking, just to see what was around because DVD was sort of like new. This is when DVDs were like 50 Australian dollars, like
Right, right, right.
stupid. I found that and I'm like, oh my God. And it's an actual like Aussie release. And as silly as the concept is with this, I love it. I love it. And then you covered it as well. So that's cool.
You know, what's funny is like when I got that, I got mine years later. It was like 2010. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is like going to be the best documentary of all time. I get home, I'm like, it's clips from the movies.
It's a
What?
clip show.
And then the funny thing is, I said, guys, I'm going to review this all these years later. And to my surprise, everybody has forgiven it for being like a ripoff. Like everybody thought it was going to be a documentary, but it's like good memories to everybody now. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking everybody was going to be like, I hate that stupid. They're all like, I love it. And I was like, what? So
Yeah.
it's like, I get it now. I get it. It's like people have forgiven it because like they thought they were going to see a documentary. It is kind of fun though. And the trivia stuff is so I actually got stumped on some of those trivia questions on the
Oh
special
yeah, yeah.
features on that disc. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
man. I
awesome.
remember the intro. Flicks Mix. Nothing but the good stuff.
Right, there's a few more apparently. There's like a kung fu one
Oh,
that
okay.
I need to go get. You know, yeah, there's a kung fu. There might be another one, and there were VHS versions of that too. But I
Mhm.
don't know if those are more expensive or rare. But I mean, having the DVDs better because, like I said, you get the trivia and like the little special features are really funny on those too, like the little horror movie facts and stuff. And you know how those fonts were in the early 2000s, like that dirty, scratchy, like it's all vibes when you put it on.
It looks
So
like a ransom note.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
the commentary with Robert Englund is great, and he's so knowledgeable, and you can tell he really loves doing that type of stuff, and just his commentary as well on like the Jason Goes to Hell clip and stuff like that, and just also the little quick anecdotes he has with the Elm Street clip with Tina's death. And I actually got introduced to some horror films because of Boogeyman, like Camilla from The Guardian and stuff like that, like stuff I'd never heard of. The Dentist as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny when I went back and watched it, I was surprised at some of the deep cuts on there.
Yeah.
Like The Guardian's not like a popular movie at all, you
No,
know.
God, no. And again, that's why I'd only heard of it because of that. But man, today we're going to be talking about the Elm Street 4K box set. And every time I do an update on the channel here, I'm like always shout out to Planet CHH because you cover this stuff as well. Because we've been wanting this for so long, dude. I remember when I first discovered you, the algorithm was like, "Hey, you'll like this guy. He's talking about the possibility of a Elm Street 4K box
Uh-huh.
set," and it was years ago, and it was when you said it was happening, and then all of a sudden they were told to stop. Um, I don't know if it was Warner Brothers, Scream Factory. I forget who it was who were initially working on it.
Right. You know, so I have something I can add to that. I've talked about this with Cliff McMillan, the guy who created Scream Factory in
Hmm.
the first. So when there was talks about this, there's always talks about this. Ever since the Friday box set came out, people were thinking, "Oh, well, the Elm Street one's coming." Like it's no doubt in my mind, Elm Street's coming. And a lot of people, and I don't, and I get it. I'm not, a lot of people just think it's as simple as why hasn't Scream Factory done an Elm Street box set? It's a no brainer. It's like, do you really think that they don't want to do it?
Mm.
But so what happened was, I'll be respectful with some of the names I mentioned.
Yeah, of course.
But I had a good friend that knows people that have done work for special features and stuff with Scream Factory, and it's such a weird situation. And honestly, when it comes to this, I may not never know the truth to this, but my good friend who has a buddy that did special features for Scream Factory releases was telling him, "Hey, we're starting to grab people and do interviews with them." And then all of a sudden, months later, my buddy said, "Hey, I was told they just were told to stop."
Mm.
But this is the interesting thing. Like this guy, like I said, I can't say his name, but if people are watching my channel a lot, they can probably figure out who it would be
Mm.
in my kind of friend group. But what's interesting is I interviewed Cliff McMillan the first time. I've interviewed him twice, and he creator of Scream Factory. The first time I interviewed him on video, I asked him about I said, let me just lay all this out to you, Cliff. And he goes, okay, lay it out to me. I told him exactly what I just told you. Cliff said, none of that is true.
Ah.
I was like, what? He goes, none of it. We've never been able to even get a license. Warner Brothers will not let us touch it.
Oh.
So that was how that whole thing. What's really true? I don't know. I don't know what the truth is to any of that, but clearly Scream Factory never got it,
Mm.
But that was the first time we talked about it. And then by a year later, I think I said next year's the 40th anniversary of part one. And I think I even said, if they don't do anything for the 40th anniversary, pack it up, everybody, go home.
Yeah.
We're going home if they don't do anything for the 40th.
Yeah, man. It just still baffles me that everything's been done in-house at Warner Brothers. And obviously we had the 4K release of part one last year, which I've just got right here. You and I did videos covering the review, the release, and all that. And I was somewhat let down by it. Like with the transfer, it was quite dark, and a lot of people would say, well, it is a dark film. Like, yeah, but you look at the Blu-ray transfer, the original 99 DVD transfer, even the Laserdisc transfer, and I'm like, man, there's something better there. And there's even this dude, I'll have to put his name down here. He gets original scans of the negative and does the full screen versions and offers them to people who sign up for like a monthly thing. And a friend of mine sent me the comparisons. And what I love about the full screen one is you can see Robert sneaking up on Tina at the beginning of the boiler room before he jumps up behind her and she wakes up. You see Robert crouched down, sneaking behind her. But these negatives, well, the restoration this dude does are beautiful. Like the blues are so blue, the original way Jacques Haken, the cinematographer, intended it to look. Whereas I don't know if you've noticed over time, the different transfers have become more warm, if that makes sense.
Oh, sure. And sometimes these guys that film the movies they kind of tweak it themselves.
Mm.
I don't know if that's the case with this, but I do know that all the directors right now, they're overseeing their restorations on these.
Yes, exactly. Good segue for that one because our latest update was from Elm Street 2 director Jack Shoulder supervising the transfer of that. And also, you did a cheeky little update with someone who's supervising the transfer as well and said, we're working with the grain, we're not removing the grain. Is that correct?
Yeah, Jock actually said that himself on his Facebook too. In the comment section of that post he made, people were like, "Don't DNR it, don't DNR it," and he's like, "Relax, we're not DNRing nothing.
Yeah.
Everything looks great. Film grain still in there and everything. Because
Beautiful.
it's funny. Like some people, man, like nobody wants like James Cameron has to be the most hated man in physical media.
T2?
Dude, it's abysmal.
Oh, yeah, T2 and True Lies, man.
True Lies it's an experiment. It's like it's not. I
Yeah.
wouldn't even call it a restoration. I'd call it a science experiment.
So this is where I am still learning all this. So that was done utilizing AI for those transfers.
It had to have been, yeah. AI,
Right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh
And
God.
like his aliens wasn't too bad,
Mm,
but like he doesn't like the look of film at
right.
all. He wants his movies to look slick and sleek, and he also doesn't give a rat's ass what anybody thinks too, because he called us all mom's basement dwelling loser virgins, you know.
That's right. That's right.
So
He's kind of like another cranky version of John Carpenter with that Q&A. I don't know if you've seen that footage where John Carpenter's at a Q&A and someone's like, "Hey, I loved Escape from New York, but what the hell was Escape from LA?" And he's like, "Shut the fuck up."
yeah. I love Johnny though. Johnny can get away with it.
Of course he can. He's John Carpenter, man. Like, good on him.
Johnny, me and Johnny dress the same: sweatpants, baggy t-shirts. Like I love Johnny's my spirit animal.
Playing Xbox, cashing checks. So one thing that you introduced me to, which I'd seen on and off, but when I was on your channel last time and you told me to go, oh no, you got to go check it out, was the ultimate edition of the Elm Street 1 Laserdisc.
Hmm.
And I don't have a Laserdisc player, but I just want it for the sake of wanting it because I think the artwork on that is beautiful. I love, the red and green sweater on the front, the fire on the back, but considering how long ago that thing came out, the bonus features were so good, dude. Like that ADR track of Robert experimenting with the Freddy voice, stuff like that. And it's just baffling that we haven't really gotten anything like that ever since, considering the advances of technology and doing interviews, more information from cast and crew. So leading into that, man, like what do you want to see with this box set, this 4K box set?
I'm a little different from people. Like for me, I love the interview stuff. Like commentaries are cool. I
Mm.
don't listen to a whole lot of commentaries. I want any bit of if it was shot, I want it. And I'm talking about weird nerdy stuff. Like there are these bizarre commercials Robert did in like the Japan markets for like Freddy's Nightmares and stuff. I want that. He in for part 5, there are these really weird. There's this thing for part 5 where it's this really weird mini movie commercial thing of this guy in like a business office and this other guy's trying to explain to him why Nightmare 5 is going to be the biggest seller on VHS in the video stores.
Mm.
And then it's almost like a weird movie comedy thing. And then they go to like a movie store and they show all the video display stuff. And then there's this other stuff of Robert, like for part 5, there's fascinating behind the scenes stuff. There's this stuff of Robert with this big ass baby carriage,
Yeah.
just ripping off these weird lines. You could find the stuff on YouTube, but I want to find the original footage to see how
Mm.
good it looks and stuff like that. And there's stuff on that laser disc. Off memory, it's kind of slipping me, but I think there was stuff on that laser disc that was never really put on video or put on releases again. And
Mm.
it's not necessarily stuff that's like you live or die by it, but it's weird little things that they
Mm.
would have on there, little moments like extended shots or after cut was yelled, and you see like this just moment of Robert coming out of character, like, and that stuff to me is there's little things like that. Um, but what I really want to see, and listen, there's two people that have hit me up. And I always say I'm not claiming to be somebody, but I covered those Elm Street films a lot, and so I think people from that that area where Warner Brothers lot is were paying attention. So I've had two people, three people, but two people consistently that have hit me up and
Mm.
have said, so hey, listen, we think we found some stuff for part 2 with the bird. That remember that scene with the bird? I'm like, yeah, what about it? He goes, we might have a little bit of stuff there because you know that they designed that big bird head on him and stuff. We might have a little bit of footage we could put there. Part 4, we're trying to find some stuff that the MPAA kind of cut out. We're digging for it. We're looking,
Mm.
and I've been asking. I was like, listen, can you confirm for me part 5 is uncut?
Yep.
Two of the guys have said we think it is. Like
Mm.
it's kind of quiet, but we think that's the case. My number one thing, and I pray it happens. My number one thing is an uncut part five
It would
because I
have to, dude. If they did the first one uncut with Tina's splash on the bed, they would have to for Dan's death.
you would think so. You would think so. My thing is, I listen. You're an Elm Street fan just like me. You're a big Elm Street fan, so you get it. But like, I need people to realize, no, Part Five is not a masterpiece. I will never say it's a masterpiece. But if you watch it uncut, I swear to Christ, you'll go up a star rating
Yeah.
because Dan's death is the most painful thing. And I
Mm.
know that sounds silly, but when you see those wires, and again, the VHS and the Laserdisc is uncut, which I have the Laserdisc of Part Five. The wires that go up his calf muscle,
Mm.
it's excruciatingly long,
Yeah.
right? It's painful to watch. It's so good. They need to get that footage, and and my thing is this, Chris. I don't give a rat's ass if they even have to upscale a laser disc, but they've got to at least have that footage on there at the very least as a bonus feature. But we need that. I've never heard that the footage was lost. We need that footage put back in the movie. We need it uncut. My number one thing is part five. Another thing, Chris, I don't know how you feel about this. I kind of have the technology for this. If I get that PlayStation headset, that VR thing, I think I can watch Blu-ray 3D.
Ah,
So my
I didn't know
thing
that
is,
was a
if they
thing.
do, yeah, yeah. So apparently the PS4 can play Blu-ray 3D, and if you have the PlayStation Vista, I think it's called a Vista. I
Yeah.
don't know what it's called, but I know I can get it. My buddy has one. He's telling me, dude, you can do Blu-ray 3D with that. I think because Rachel Talalay said, we're working on Freddy's Dead right now, blah 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 blah. But the 3D technology we have is amazing. So I'm led to believe that they're doing something with that, but I don't know how you put 3D technology onto 4K unless they're also going to include a true Blu-ray 3D Blu-ray disc on there. If they do, I want to experience that. Because they had the crappy 3D glasses with the laser disc you can
Mm.
have. Which I have. I have two pairs of those, which are kind of cool. I need to pull them out and frame them and put them on the wall. But
Yeah,
like stuff
man.
like that, dude, I want that too.
Yeah,
Even if I can't
100%.
watch it, Chris, even if you can't watch it, Chris, just to have it. Say, oh,
Yeah.
I've got an actual Blu-ray 3D copy of Freddy's Dead.
Yeah.
And they should make the whole thing 3D. Like make it a whole full 3D movie.
Mm. Yeah, exactly. Or whether or not like you go to the menu and it's just the ending in 3D. It's like a separate file or whatnot. But there's also, I don't know if you've seen Tony from Hack the Movies here on YouTube, his coverage of the work print of Freddy's Dead and things that are included in that kind of add to the story, add to the narrative. And it's kind of like, oh, it's sort of like you with the Dream Child House, like it bumps it up a notch. It's nowhere near a masterpiece, but it gives a bit of context here and there, especially with Maggie's backstory and what she's all about. But also with part four, I don't know if you remember in Never Sleep Again, the Elm Street Legacy.
Yes.
If you go to the deleted interviews, like stuff they didn't use, and it's like an hour long, they've just put everything together in the special features section. They're interviewing Christopher Briggs, the effects artist who worked on four and a couple of other Elm Streets. And he's like, we knew we were going to get an X rating. So Bob Shea came to us and was like, can you guys make some of the most disgusting and offensive effects ever? So it'll distract the MPAA from what we want to keep in the film. And they'll be like, cut it out and be fine. Anyway, they did that, put it in the film, submitted it to the MPAA, and they came back and they're like, you got an X rating. You got to delete X or cut X, Y, and Z. And it was those offensive effects they did. They got their R rating. And the interviewer for Never Sleep Again asked Chris Briggs, they're like, what were they? And he's like, I'm not allowed to say. They were that horrific. And I'm like, oh, imagine if they like put that in with this box set. If I don't know if like Bob Shea made him sign NDAs. God knows if they're still valid, but it's just interesting stuff like that.
Well, I can tell you this, dude. There are people. This is the coolest thing I heard. And again, I say this not like I'm some proprietor of Elm Street or like I'm somebody, but like I said, I have these people that keep me in the know on everything. one of the guys I was just talking to, the last thing I asked him was about were they going to do commentaries, and he said, so the people. This is the cool thing. He says, listen, the studio, they know it's going to. I think what they were shocked by how well Part One sold,
Mm,
especially in the States. I'm
yeah.
sure it sold well everywhere, but I think they were probably, because I'll tell you this, Chris, we still have physical media like in Walmart and, like certain Elm Street never made it to a department store here, as far as I could tell, because it
For
sold the
4K.
demand. Yeah, because the demand was so high and it sold so well, I don't think it ever reached a department store.
Mm,
I wouldn't be, Chris, I really wouldn't be surprised if Elm Street probably sold on like the first week of its release, probably 100,000 copies. I,
yeah.
I really think that's a safe bet. I
Mm.
think people underestimate because certain movies, people want them, whether they're a physical media person. It's like that's a big deal when I'm, even though the artwork was that we got that
Uh,
in America, we got that 1999 DVD artwork.
Freddy vs.
Yo,
Jason on the cover. Why?
yeah, and see, that's the special edition. No, Chris, there's something important about this. I want you to pull out your steel book for the audience real quick. Okay, so a lot of people are wondering there's going to be the steelbook collection,
Mm,
this expensive version that Zavi has coming out. A lot
yeah.
of people are wondering, Chris, what are the steelbooks going to look like? Well,
Mm.
Chris, what does your first one look like on the cover? It's the original poster.
With the
What do you,
original logo,
so what do you think is going to be on the rest of them steelbooks? What makes sense for
the
the rest
original
of them?
posters.
Now that's what I've been told is
Okay.
that they're supposed to be the original posters or close to the original posters. What is that? What does that mean? Obviously the original posters have all the font and stuff at the bottom, like with all
Mm.
the directed by blah blah. They're probably going to have more of a zoomed in kind of image on certain ones, but I think that's the best case scenario on this deluxe kind of steelbook collection that they're going to do. But
Like, keep it
uh,
simple, like the original box set, the one that you always recommend, where it's just blacked out around the borders and it has the simple posters on each DVD from the original box set. Like stuff like that. It's just simplicity. And going to the video you put up a couple of weeks ago of the supposed preview of the French artwork for the box set, which is Jackie Earl Haley's Freddy with a Freddy vs. Jason glove. Once again, utilizing the Freddy vs. Jason glove. What's the story with that? Is that confirmed?
so it's not confirmed, and I should have specified in this video because a lot of people were like, "Well, Christian, I think if you translate this website, it says TBD and stuff like that." What I
Mm,
feel, I thought I said this in the video, but what I should have said was when one of my guys actually said, "Hey, this website has this up," and it does say TBD, but from what I understand, there's going to be levels to these releases. There's going to be this really nice steelbook collection, which is already available to pre-order on the Zavi website, and then there's going to be more standard collections. From what I understand, the more standard collections are going to be that kind of artwork.
yeah.
So even though it says TBD, I said, "Well, is that going to be the art or not?" And he goes, "Yeah, it probably is. I think that's what it is. They're going to because we had a box set like that, and I think I even pulled it up in my video like I had it
Yeah, yeah.
that it was a DVD box set where each movie was on an individual disc,
Hmm.
and it went up to that one actually went up to Freddy versus Jason, but now this one they're not doing Freddy versus Jason. I think Arrow's gonna get Freddy versus Jason in America,
Why
but
haven't they included Freddy vs. Jason? I'm so out of the loop with that one. Even the remake.
the remake I kind of get. But even then, if you're selling it as a collection, you think they just throw it in anyway. But I
Yeah.
almost feel like I don't know. I don't think there's a reason Warner Brothers would distance themselves from their own movie like that. But
Mm.
it has become the redheaded stepchild. It seems like they don't really try to sell it that
I,
much. I mean, it stays in print. Of course, if you want to go online, you go to Amazon in America right now and get it. But yeah, they don't in the Blu-ray collection. Well, yeah, the Blu-ray collection that came out in 2011, so you could the remake had just come out on physical media, but still no.
do you think
And
it's
that went
because of
up
the
to part
whole?
7 too.
Yeah, 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 of course. Like, yeah, true, New Nightmare. Would you think because the whole debacle with the Friday the 13th franchise, the court case, the rights, who owns what, stuff like that, if it's maybe it's just they just don't want to touch it because of that?
You'd have to think so, but
Mm,
it's probably sticky. I really don't know. There is one thing I want to talk about though. I don't know how true this is, but there's a girl named, and she told me this publicly, so I don't think she'll mind me saying this. There's a girl named Paige who actually did a documentary called Fred Heads.
Oh,
And
I
I
love that. I love
remember,
that doco.
yeah, so I remember, and it's she, I saw the doc and I thought it was great. And then I was talking to her, and then she was like, I didn't know who you were. I would have put you in this thing. And I was like, I would have, because I have a, she's like, you got a baby Freddie? I said, I love Elm Street. I didn't know who she was. She didn't know who I was. Otherwise, I would have loved to have been in that.
Mm.
But I was just talking about like Spirit Halloween just being trash for Elm Street. There's nothing there. And then Paige had said, well, the reason is supposedly Robert has a new deal. His lawyers got him a deal years ago that any Elm Street related product that has his face on it, he's got to get paid for all that. So
Oh,
if you'll notice, till this very day, I don't know what it's like by you, but to this very day, if you go to Walmart, if they have an Elm Street shirt, that's going to be Jackie's ass on that shirt. It's going to be the remake
ah,
font. The artwork on the box set's going to be Jackie's ass, not Robert, because they don't want to pay Robert for stuff like that. That makes sense to me.
that does. Because there's a brand here called Culture Kings, and they've got a
They got
line of Elm
Jackie Earl
Street shirts,
Haley
and
shirts.
it's all Jackie Earl Haley, and I'm like, what is this? Why?
They got to pay Robert.
I
They
haven't
got to
put two
pay
and two
him.
together with that, man. I have not seen like Robert themed merchandise for ages, like brand new stuff.
And it makes sense because no disrespect, but what company says, you know what, man, these Jackie Earl Haley designs are gonna just go nuts on the show. Like people are gonna go, no, like I get it. Like they can like it's some sort of they have to pay X amount more to
Mm,
use Robert's likeness. Yeah, that makes total sense to me because his stuff, dude, it's like they have these like when Spirit Halloween opens up, they always have this section of these canvas prints and
mm.
they'll have everybody. And then sure enough, you looking for the Elm Street one. It's that damn remake. It's every year. I'm like, there's no
Yeah.
original Freddy stuff.
I that all makes sense now, man. I mean, like, good on Robert. Like, he's Robert Englund, so he can do whatever the fuck he wants. But
Yeah, but
that's
we gotta
insane.
suffer. We all
Yeah, yeah.
suffer.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, yeah, that makes sense with those Culture King t-shirts. I'm like, that's a weird choice. No one really remembers the remake. So, okay, that sounds like a legal thing. In terms of if we do get fresh artwork, apart from the simple posters, would you want to see newly created artworks, much like the recent 4K Halloween releases?
I mean, sure. And there are phenomenal artists out there who could just knock it out the park. You
Mm.
know, it's like I'm sure you've seen obviously the Friday the 13th box set, like
Oh,
the actual box
that's
art.
stunning.
I've always said, imagine a red based box set with the
Mm.
same artist doing, you know, the front's got to be. I think as much as I love part two, it's my favorite. I think the mascot for the franchise is part four's look. I
Yeah.
think when you like the look of that, I think that needs to be that could be front and center. And then you got to have your baby Fred just somewhere in the corner. You know, you have Super Freddy over here. You have part two with the brain, like, but that's the reality is that's the downside to the studio doing this themselves.
Mm.
I mean, it just is. They're going to use stuff that's in their file of, already owned images and press stuff, and they just touch it and tweak it up, and they make their whatever that is that Stranger Things vintage VHS looking cover with the glove on the wrong hand, and
Yeah, like, and
like
that's
that's
the
just
thing.
what.
That's like what I said in my review. I love the aesthetic of the vintage, the stripes there. But if that had been the original poster, they would have nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. And then on the back, you got Part 4 Freddy with a remake glove. It's just, come
It's
on,
like,
man. Like
you,
you like the releases of Friday the 13th, Halloween, we got new, fresh artwork. Like, is that a Gutter Garbs shirt you're wearing?
yeah, this is actually a Freddy's Nightmare shirt.
See, that's awesome, man. Like, imagine as well if on the box set we got some Freddy's Nightmares episodes, which they've done in the past with previous releases, but just inspired artwork like that where it's accurate, where it's, each representation of how Freddy looks in each film with the differing makeups, gloves, and characters, like, our victims, our final girls, and stuff like that. Like when Gutter Garbs comes out with those different shirts from, like, Freddy's Dead, it's so on par with the theme of the film, what goes on in the film, Easter eggs on the illustrations and artwork. I would just love to see that, man. Yeah, it kind of just rubs me the wrong way where I'm like, and going back to what you said about how Warner Brothers just probably go back to the hard drive and see what assets they've got, and they're like, ah, screw it, this will do. I just figured, because this is such a prized possession of theirs with that IP, you think they just go all out. Maybe we're going to be proven wrong, and they're like, hey, no, we've been working on stuff because this is the big box set. But you figured with the first cab off the rank with the OG Elm Street last year, it kind of would have enticed us a little if they had done something different, to be like, this is what you can expect with the eventual box set.
Right, right, right. I mean, ultimately, I don't want to sound pessimistic. I think ultimately there will be a little left to be desired. But
Mm,
what's so cool about this, and I meant to try to get on this earlier, but I can just word vomit so much. But so I was asking one of my guys, people were like, "Are there going to be new commentaries on this?" And he said, so they are trying. And I said, what does that mean? He's like, let me put it to you like this: the only reason that the directors are there working on the movies themselves, these guys are getting the directors in studio to work on stuff. I mean, like, to me, it is mind boggling that they actually got Rachel Talalay. Like, I love Freddy's Dead, but
same.
like the fact that she actually got invited to go in there and supervise that movie is insane to me. I was like, so what do you mean by like all this? He goes, dude, this company, they're gonna just spit this out like everything else they do, but the people that are working in this department, they love Elm Street, and they are going out of their way to try to make sure that we do something right.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that was such good news to me. And he said the thing about commentaries, and I hope there are commentaries on here, but they don't want to spend the money to do it because obviously that's going to cost money. And I said,
Yeah.
well, what are they? I was like, well, how are they going to do it? He goes, well, what they're trying to do is they're trying to convince, and I say they, it's some of the people that are in charge of putting this together and working on it. They're
Mm,
trying to do Zoom recordings with people, which wouldn't be ideal because the audio wouldn't be great. But
yeah.
so ultimately, I don't think that's going to happen. But they definitely shot new interviews and stuff. I mean, you saw a video of Robert, you saw pictures of Robert and Jack Shoulder together taking pics. They were in studio
Yeah.
doing new interviews. Whether they're going to be here's the reality, Chris. There's not much else we can learn.
No, oh
I
no,
mean,
no.
yeah.
God, no. And
But
I've
it's
I've
the
I've
it's the principle. I think it's the principle of showing that you're going out of your way to do something for, because these Warner Brothers has to know that the people buying this own the movies 4 times already.
yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's the principle of just hearing what these guys have to say and doing it just to do it, like going out of the way to
Exactly.
have special features.
Yeah, exactly, man. And like that's the thing. We've seen every documentary, we know all the facts, all the tidbits, but I still think a new commentary track for all of the Elm Street films would be amazing, because I've only known the commentary track from the first one, which I know back to front with Wes, Jacques Aiken, Heather Langenkamp, John Saxon. There's another one with Robert. And I used to listen to that thing over and over and over. But like to have a commentary track with, say, Rachel Talalay, Robert Englund, Sean Greenblatt, Ricky Dean
Mm,
Logan, just Lisa
mm.
Zane. It just would be so cool. Again, we're probably asking a bit too much, and Warner Brothers are like, well, you guys have seen everything. There's nothing really else to talk about. But I don't know. And I've said this in my videos covering like updates with the 4K release. That's where you can get creative. I don't care about the whole life and crimes of Freddy Krueger, Docker, whatever that is. To me, that just seems surface level, if that makes sense. And there are some people that like that, and that's fine. But if you, like you said, if you own this 4 times over, you're gonna want something more to bite on.
I don't know, man. Like, I really just hope that they actually are letting these people, like, that are trying to push this to be as good as it can. Just let them, give them the time. Because I don't know, like they're, as far as I know, dude, they're still working on it as we speak. And the release date is questionable, but I go back to when Elm Street 1 came out, which was October. So I anticipate this thing coming out around the same time.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense for it to come out during December. I know some sites say December, but I think it's going to come out. And another thing, dude, is we got to see that they're going to have to release images of this stuff soon. I think last year, dude, it was any day now where they released the images of the deluxe Blu-ray of deluxe 4K collection that you have on. It was right about now. So we could be days away from seeing the actual art, but I don't know, dude. Like, I think the best case scenario, yes, I would love if they actually hired like a Devin Draws or a Justin Osborne, who's my favorite artist that does stuff here. It's just fantastic. What I love, Justin's stuff is great. He doesn't get too busy, and he has the perfect blend of reality and that kind of comic look. But that's not gonna. Let's just be real. That's not happening. It's not. It's not. If it was a different company, they'd hire him. But if they use the original poster arts, and here's another thing, Chris, just getting nerdy. I don't want the Part 5 poster. I want that damn video store poster with the baby carriage.
Robert, with Robert with his one leg up with the shh.
That's what I want.
Yeah,
I'm actually I had really bad sunburn 2 weeks ago, so I was actually getting that tattooed on me, and then I had to stop, so I got to go back and get it finished. But like I was getting that Freddy, I love that image of Robert. So yeah, I want that. Dude, could you imagine a baby blue, not a baby blue, but just a beautiful blue steel book with that baby carriage and Freddy. Dude, like the Part 5 poster is great. Whoever that artist who did all those just killed it. The Elm Streets have the best posters of any horror franchise.
100%.
But that Part 5 video, so I'm looking at it right now. That Part 5 video store poster is just perfect.
It's so perfect, I want nostalgia, that. Man. And look, I would also love the original poster with the baby before they were like, no, we can't have that. We can't have that. We've got to have the carriage instead, because it's like, is Freddy going to kill the baby? I'm like, no, he's like nestling it. He's protecting it. Right. But to have that OG poster, but your one as well. And that, speaking of tattoos, man, that looks sick. I've been umming and ahhing about getting a Freddy tattoo, because I got my first one a couple of months ago, Batfleck. And I'm like, I want a Freddy tattoo, but it's so hard to really nail the face because it's so busy. So anyway, Sassy Sledgehammer, Deandra?
Yes.
A few months ago, I was in LA for a Netflix gig, and she's like, hey, let's finally meet up. We've known each other since we were babies, like, around the forum days in 2010. And when she started cosplaying as Nancy and her dad was cosplaying as Lieutenant Thompson. And anyway, we met up, and she has tattooed here, written and directed by Wes Craven in the OG Elm Street font from the opening credits. And I'm like, that's brilliant. I love that. So I'm like, I got an idea. So I messaged her, and I'm like, could I just get your blessing to do something similar? But instead of that, I want Robert Englund as Fred Krueger from the opening credits when Tina's going through the boiler room, and it's Robert's first credit as Freddy.
Very, very cool.
Because that funny font, how it's like not all aligned. With the opening credits. So it's addictive, man. Like there's so many more I want, but I've got to be like, where is it? Can I have another look at yours, if that's okay?
Oh, no, you can't see anything. It's
horrible. So they started outlining it. Okay.
Yeah, but see, what's so funny is my wife started getting tattoos. I was never a tattoo person, but my wife started getting them. So then I was like, fuck it. Let me just start getting tattoos. So I've got Return of the Living Dead 1, 2, my hero, Alice Cooper, Blair Witch, Blue Oyster Cult, Friday the 13th, Part 6, Friday the 13th, Part 2. And then finally somebody was like, why don't you have an Elm Street tattoo? And I'm like, because it's like, what do I get? Like, I can't decide. And then I had to go to not necessarily my favorite one, but like, which is the one that like I just love. And I was like, I got to get a Dream Child tattoo. So that's when I decided to get that pick a friend. I actually got to go back. I played a gig on a Friday or something. Horrible sunburn, but I didn't know it yet. So when we started tattooing, my skin was just coming off, and they're like, "We got to stop." But when
Ooh,
it gets done, I'll send it to you. I'll show it to you. But I'm
yeah.
excited. I'm really excited.
Please do, man.
But yeah,
Dude,
it's tough picking Elm Street tattoos. I always tell people it's easy doing Friday the 13th because a lot of it's easy symbols and stuff. But I couldn't figure out what to do at Elm Street. It's
that's
tough.
it.
I can't,
And
you know.
especially like what part Freddy's. Well, I was like, oh, do I get part two? But I kind of
Dude,
want it to match the simplicity of this Batfleck one because it's just a single line one. So I guess to summarize, man, what is the priority that you want to see with this box set?
what I want to see, and this is like such a silly word, but I mean it, is respect.
Yeah,
Like I
that's
want
not
it,
silly. That's spot on.
I mean, we're talking about first world problem stuff, but like, so like, I know it's a little silly, but at the same time, it's like, I want it to feel like, I don't want it to feel like it was spat out by a company that just doesn't give a rat's ass, like they do with most of their stuff. And I get it. Physical media is not like the moneymaker it was anymore,
Hmm.
but you cannot tell me that Elm Street did not slam on the sales for the 4K. They have to know that
Yeah.
it had to have. I really think it sold over 100,000 copies worldwide.
So you guys still haven't. We only got the physical copies in department stores in April.
I've never seen, I've never seen Elm Street on a shelf in any Walmart ever. We don't have a whole lot of
Wow.
department stores anymore that sell physical media, but like any big movie comes to Walmart. Any big movie. I've never seen Elm Street.
So our Kmart and Targets have gone away with physical media, but have you heard of JB Hi-Fi?
Yeah, I've heard. I don't have it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, so JB Hi-Fi is here in Australia. That's where we've got it, and it only just came out here in April. But that's amazing. That what about like so? Not even a Best Buy?
They stopped selling. They stopped selling
Oh
physical
my
media.
God, they did. Yeah, that's right. I saw the Flick Pick. He did a Flick trip out there, and he's like, "This is a dark day." They've like stopped.
Yeah, and it's funny. No, I don't see anybody go to Best Buy anymore. Anyway, all they have now is TVs and washing machines. And people buy TVs online now, get them
Yeah.
cheaper. So Best Buys aren't really doing that good anymore.
Mm,
But
yeah.
yeah, like I want to have a set that felt like it was done by fans. And honestly, I think it's honestly it's kind of a rock. I kind of feel for a lot of the people that are in the trenches at Warner Brothers doing their best and working on it and getting the directors to come in. We know that not Jacques. We know Jack Shoulder was in there. I asked my guys. I was like, "What about Chuck?" Oh yeah, oh yeah, Chuck's there. Rennie's already Rennie. I've seen Rennie on Facebook and Instagram already talk about it to people in the comment. People keep asking him, and I've seen it, and he responded like, "Yep, oh yeah, I've done part 4."
Oh, amazing.
Now, who's doing New Nightmare? Probably, I'm assuming. I don't remember if Jacques did that for the camera work. But if he did, I would assume he's probably doing New Nightmare, overseeing that. Um, I assume so. I'm
Yeah,
assuming
actually,
he
that's a
did
good
part one.
question. Who would do New Nightmare? Like, yeah.
If he did the if he did the cinematography, whatever I know, cameraman's what I call him. I'm a simple guy, but if he did that in that movie, he has to have. Now, I need to go talk to my guy about this. I'm gonna ask him again if he has an up. Like he keeps telling me, yeah, they're gonna go. They're gonna do everything they can to make 5 uncut. I gotta see if the director's name's slipping me. He has a famous sounding name. Like there's a guitar player or some other
Oh,
like
Stephen
actor.
Hopkins.
Yeah, Hopkins was thinking, yeah. I know Stephen Hopkins. I was asking about him, and he was like, "Yeah, they're getting all the directors. I'm a follow up. I'll let you know about that tonight."
Yeah.
But dude, I want these movies first off to just look phenomenal.
Mm.
I'm really excited to see part 2 the most. But honestly, like I think part 4 is going to look the best because I call it the Daydream Master because more than half of the movie is a day. People fall asleep at noon, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So the whole
100%.
movie is daytime. I think part 4 has this might look the most phenomenal.
I think it's the
Um,
most colorful as well because it's like the proper MTV Freddy, especially the dream sequences, like the kaleidoscope
oh, it's
dream
amazing.
where like
Yeah.
so many colors injected into that the church fight. I'm looking forward to part two like you and Freddy's Dead because there's a lot of daytime stuff not necessarily daytime, but Freddy's lit a lot more brighter as the movies progressed. I'm also hoping they go back to the transfer of part one and maybe take on some feedback from when it was released and be like, well, maybe we should tinker a bit with this to complement the rest of the set.
Here's a question I have for you, Chris. This is something I'm glad you brought that up. So let me just give you this anecdote. We had a situation with Friday the 13th, which I'm so excited. Tomorrow, I'm going to see the original Friday the 13th in the theater. They're doing a
Nice.
awesome. I can't wait.
Looks it's Friday the 13th here today.
Oh yeah, so I for some reason I thought you were behind me in time, but yeah. So, you know, when the 4K of that came out, nobody liked it. It was dark.
Right.
Darker than all the other previous releases. I had a conversation with somebody that is on the ends with Paramount about that, and we just got to talking about it, and Paramount was aware, and people in the company were aware that they weren't really happy with the look of it. And I was asking about that, and the guy I was talking to, he goes, listen, the way they did that 4K is supposed to be as close as possible to the way that movie actually looked when it was released. And I was like, really? He goes, that's everything that I was told about that. So my question is, what's more important to you? Obviously, you weren't old enough to see this movie in the theater. I wasn't old enough to see this movie theater. So we really don't know. But what is more important to you? Would it be more important for you for them to go back and make the movie look and be set the way it would look better on modern TVs and the way people watch these movies with the lights on in their room? Or would you rather it look, if they told you this is as close to humanly possible as this movie looked the day it was projected on the movie screens in 1984? Which of those two would you prefer? And there's not a right or wrong answer, but you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%, man. I think, like you said, it was 4 years before I was born when the film came out. Of course, I'd love to see how it looked in 84, how people experienced it. I think if that means it's really dark, I'm like, well, okay, that's the trade-off you kind of got to make peace with. But at the same time, I'm a details man. I love seeing, the beautiful details in David Miller's makeup work on Robert, the glove, the sweater, even the boots, like trying to identify the boots, which myself and a few talented collectors, we were able to identify them a couple of months ago. But stuff like that. But I guess, hey, if it's the true experience to see how it looked back then so be it. I think I've just been spoiled with previous transfers where you can just see more and take more in of what's been photographed.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to that. It just depends on the way for me, at the end of the day, like gun to my head, I would say definitely don't make it look too dark. But dude, I love the history of this type of stuff. And there's a part of me that is like, I want it to look as close to humanly possible, as identical as it did the way it was projected opening night, 1984, 1985 for all these movies. So, but that's the beauty of the sequels now. I mean, I would argue the sequels en masse are, with the exception of maybe 5, are largely brighter films.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, dude, here's the last nerdy thing I got to say. The gentleman's name slipped me that did the poster arts for these movies.
Matthew Joseph Peck.
Okay, thank you. The cassette release for Freddy's Dead, not the music from the motion picture, but the original motion picture soundtrack that the composer did. It might have been Brian May. I can't remember.
Brian May, that's it. Yep.
Okay. I am a real fan. The cassette art is that blue poster with the tombstone.
With him like that?
I want that on the goddamn steelbook. I don't want the red. I want that artwork on the steelbook, because that artwork, to me, that's the same artist who did that, but they changed Freddy. I want that artwork on the steelbook. And because this is an overseas release that I know is the steelbook collection, I don't know if America's getting this. Not that Americans not going to be able to get it, but because this is an overseas. Let me ask you this: when the Australian one sheet for Freddy's Dead, what is it? Is it that art or is it the red
No,
art with
it's
his?
I've literally got the original Daybill poster right here, and it's him, reaching like that.
Okay, so I
It's
don't
so, and
know.
that's the one he didn't do.
Right, that's what I'm saying. And so I don't know what markets that original poster was used for. And I'm for that poster, I'm referencing people the blue one with the tombstone, the girl laying on the bed on the floor, and Freddy's hand in a glove. That and
It's a good
no,
poster.
it's dude, it's fantastic, and it's used on my cassette tape. They use that like
Mm.
that's, and I love that artwork so much. I want that as a. I want a 24. I want a 24 by 70 poster of that. I mean, I love my red one. I have a video store one of that, but dude, I love that poster, and it's a crime that they didn't finish off the series using that artist's work
Mm.
because I argue that the red poster absolutely tone wise matches the movie much better than the or blue poster that got. I don't know if it got if canceled is the right word or not, but let's bring it back. Let's reel it back in. Let's give justice to that artwork because
Mm.
you know that artwork is slamming, dude. That artwork is so good. I
It's
want that on the
good,
steelbook.
man. I love that he keeps the theme of half the skull being exposed, like
It's
from the first poster, all the way through. He's carried that through.
it's dude, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Like I when I come in my room, I got the wall back here, dude.
Mm.
I look the posters are just phenomenal. They're just phenomenal. And that's one of my hope. And if not, Chris, what I want to do is, when you open up that steel book, let's pay reverence there. That
Yeah.
front, that inside. I need that art on there somewhere.
Yeah.
That's
It,
that's that's what I need.
it's got to make, like, can you imagine if they went above and beyond and included the soundtracks of each one, like the big super duper fuck off box set, and with Brian May's score, you've got Joseph's artwork there. I'm like, oh, that'd be good. Even if like a booklet with Freddy's Dead, there's a booklet or just a booklet covering all of them, and you
I
get
think there is. I think there is a book.
okay.
I think there is in that deluxe steelbox collection. And by the way, I think from what I understand, have you seen those Warner Brothers and Lionsgate steel boxes? Like there's a Rambo one I have. It is
Mm,
gorgeous. It's a big metal steel box. Look this up later if you haven't seen it. It's covered in this gorgeous artwork from the Rambo films, and it's steel books that are separated by really really thick styrofoam, and they
okay.
slide perfectly in. I think it's going to be like that. So I mean, I don't want to tell people to go ahead and pre-order this steel box set before seeing what it's going to look like, but I don't know. From what I understand, it's going to be pretty baller. And if it's the original artwork on these steel books, man, like
I
I don't
mean,
know,
worst case scenario, man, we've always got those custom slip cases that you've covered before in the past. And I know
right?
people are working on more at the moment, but it makes sense that hopefully soon we get a glimpse of something because I mean, it's kind of like cutting it fine. People have pre-ordered, people have paid money for something they don't know what it looks like yet. So I think they owe it to people that have pre-ordered. This is what you're getting. This is what to expect.
Yeah, yeah. So now I'm excited, man. I really hope we hear something soon. This has been a long time coming, dude. I've been talking about and so have you. I'm not the only one, but man, I just feel like I've been talking about this for dude years.
Well, it's the thing. We've got Michael, we've got Jason and Freddy. You'd think Freddy would be the first cab off, the slasher rank, but it just feels like he's always got, the shit covered end of the stick with a 4K release. And then for, part one came out and that's cool, but it wasn't how I had envisioned it. Maybe my hopes were too high, and I think there's no harm in that. When you're a diehard fan and you want to experience the next best thing of experiencing how these films can look in 4K. We've gone through it all. We've been there for VHS, we've been there for DVD, Blu-ray, Laserdisc, Betamax as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you want that next best thing, and then afterwards it's like, all right, bring on the 8K restoration in 10 years time.
Which that will probably happen.
Of course
You
it will.
know.
And like that's when you put your VR headset on and you're running down the alleyway from Freddy. Dude,
And
it's been an absolute pleasure talking physical media shop. What do you got going on at the moment? Content wise, physical media wise. I saw your Return of the Living Dead video. That was brilliant. What do you got coming in terms of like pre-orders and stuff like that?
I don't know if I have a lot of pre-order stuff right now. Um, trying to think. I try to just come up with ideas throughout the day and write stuff down. Like I did something funny. I'm gonna film this probably this weekend.
Mm,
I don't know if you're on Twitter, X, whatever it's called, but they got this AI thing called Grok, and you
okay.
literally can ask it anything. It's artificial intelligence that answers your question, or you could say, Grok,
Mm.
create a picture of Jamie Lee Curtis with a spider body, and it'll do it. It'll make like a,
Okay.
and
Yep.
so I went on Twitter the other day and I said, Grok, tell me the 10 greatest horror films of all time. And it told me. So I'm going to do a list of like, I asked AI the greatest top 10 greatest horror films of all time. And I'm going to go over the list and go over what I agree with.
Yep.
I'm trying to have fun, dude. Like physical media and stuff is always going to be a big part of the channel, but I'm trying to like, you know, do some other things. And I rebranded. I don't know how long you've been watching me, but I rebranded in 2021. So like I cover other stuff too. Like there's a company called Vinegar Syndrome,
Yep.
which they do, yeah. So they do amazing stuff. I just got in their VSU of Golden Child with Eddie Murphy. I'm gonna watch that.
Mm.
And dude, one of my favorite comedians of all time, Norm Macdonald, rest in peace. They just put out Dirty Work,
Okay.
and there was always talks of this movie being rated R
Mm.
before it got cut, and they found the footage. They put it all back in, never before seen. It's
Ooh.
on this disc for the first time. And there is stuff that I heard about when Chevy Chase was on Howard Stern about the stuff that got cut that is probably just as nasty as that Elm Street 4 stuff you were talking about in terms of like gross
Ah.
stuff. So I'm gonna watch that this weekend. So I got that coming up. And honestly, dude, I keep busy. I just love I've learned, Chris, that nothing is too dorky or nerdy to talk about if it's
No.
about like I love talking about random DVDs. So my point is I need to shut up, but I got a lot of stuff coming. I keep myself busy. I film as much stuff as I can when I get the ideas. And I'm just having fun, dude. And it seems like the more fun I have, it does well on the channel. So and your new channel, dude, is phenomenal. It seems like I think that one's eventually gonna outdo your other one.
Well,
Now
yeah,
that
and I haven't actually made this public. Like obviously, a lot of people know the Cosplay Chris channel, and I should have started this channel years and years ago, man. I love doing content on this channel, and it costs a lot to build a cosplay, props and stuff like that. Takes a lot more time. But what's happened, man? Next to all my videos on the main channel have been demonetized because back in the day, I downloaded quote unquote royalty free music off YouTube. And all of a sudden, those artists have now obtained a license
you're
or a
screwed.
third party's gone through. And next to all of my custom collectible videos are demonetized. And I'm like, seems like a lost cause now. Whereas I get on here, I can nerd out over, a beautiful Freddy glove made by an artist and showcase that.
Love it.
I've got one. So this is the first as well. I put a cryptic post up yesterday that I just paid a deposit on a
I saw
product.
that. I saw that. You got it. As soon as we get off, you're telling me what that is.
I'll tell you now.
Oh, okay.
It's the second draft original script for Freddy's Dead.
You bastard.
Yeah, yeah. So it's from 1990 by Mike DeLuca. So it's the second draft, and I believe they did the third, and then they went into production and started filming. So
Oh,
a
dude.
gentleman was offering this on the Movie Props Facebook page. So I paid a deposit. I just got to shoot him through the final bunch of dollary dues this week. So I want to do a video on that and just see what the differences are with dialogue and stuff like that. But again, like you said, nothing is too nerdy. Niche is awesome, and you the topics you cover, because like you've been cranking out content lately, man. It's so good because it covers a bit of everything. And you did one this morning that I watched at the gym, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, Marcus Nispel, stuff like that. So that's the beautiful thing about physical media. It's just going to keep coming. It just makes for constant conversation. Same with me with props, because I know you've got your David Miller baby Freddy there. I am waiting on my David Miller Part One bust, utilizing the prosthetics from his molds from Part One that he offers. Um,
You bought one, or are you waiting for him to put it back up on eBay?
no, I bought one. I bought one months ago. So there, I had to sell a few pieces to pay for it because he was like, "Look, these molds are falling apart. They're 40 something years old. They're plaster."
Yeah.
But he cast them in silicon, the pieces opposed to foam latex, so it'll last forever. And he goes, "Look, I'm not going to have many left." I'm like, "I've got to do it. I'd be kicking myself if I didn't."
Chris, listen to me. I got to chastise you in front of your audience.
Do it.
Why did you not join the Baby Fred Club?
Well, funny you mention that because he offers just the head as well.
You need the full. Well, the head's cool. I'd be happy if you got the head, but you need to join the Baby Fred Club, dude.
And he actually doesn't charge much for it either. Did your other half bought your baby Freddy for you, didn't she?
Yeah, yeah, no, no, yeah, yes. Years ago, I
Yeah.
lucked out. It was part of a wedding present.
I mean, that's a pretty good wedding present, man, to be honest.
I mean, let me tell you something, Chris. That's when you look at him, he never gets unimpressive.
It is beautiful. And the
Like
fact it comes from the molds as well, man, like it's spot on.
one of the you'll break down. You'll break down. You'll join the Freddy, your Baby Fred Club.
Don't twist my arm, man. Don't twist my arm. It's
You
bad
got
enough
it.
I paid so much for the part one bust from him, but oh man,
No,
I just had to have it.
you didn't make the wrong choice, but eventually you're going to join the Baby Fred Club.
Well,
You're going to be a part of an elite group.
so he also offers the part one, sorry, the part five prosthetics as well.
Oh, dude.
You shouldn't have heard that. Now you're
No,
gonna.
no, look, I can't, dude. I got, I'm about to do remodeling in the house, and eventually, I got too much money to spend right now, so I can't. But I got my Baby Fred, and I'm happy. I tell you, that part two you got right there is just beautiful.
Oh, dude, yeah, Paul. Have you heard of him, Paul Bailey?
I have. I've seen his work. I've seen
Have you
his work.
seen him as Freddy with his little demo reel?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember seeing him. It must have been like 2019 when I saw it. His
Yeah,
demo reel right when he came out. It's
yeah.
phenomenal.
It just you look at it every angle, and it it's just so impressive. And I still find things to this day, like little details. I'm like, man, that is just that's the top tier right there.
But see, Chris, this is something you're gonna do one day, not me, because I'm not gonna be able to do it. But you're gonna somehow get a mold, a design. You're gonna get a full bust of Part Five, Robert. And listen, that's an underrated look. He actually looks like a creepy old man in the makeup for five.
He does. He
Like
looks like he's
like
melting.
but this is what you're gonna do. You are going to make Chef Freddy. You're gonna get the little, the little tie and everything with the stripe. You're gonna get
Yep.
the hat. You're gonna get Chef Freddy. Because that's what excites me. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that your part two right there is not gorgeous, but like if I can get a Super Freddy or a Chef Freddy, dude,
Yeah.
now you're cooking. Like,
Yeah.
because nobody has that.
No,
Nobody has
no.
that.
Or even black and white Freddy from Mark's Death.
Oh, dude. I mean, yeah, there's so many great designs I would want to get. The Chef is reasonable because you could get that stuff, but I've
Yeah.
never seen a part five bust in my life. But that thing is beautiful. But I gotta say really quick, because I'm sure the audience is thinking this. If anybody that I send over from my channel hasn't seen you before, the entire time everybody is looking at that damn dinosaur. That thing looks real from here. Dude, that thing is insane looking.
It
It's
is
gorgeous.
it's beautiful, man. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
dude, it's too real. It's kind of freaky looking.
Yeah, it's one of the like he's done such an incredible job that the eyes almost follow you sometimes, especially when I
Oh
come in
hell
to
no, dude.
grab stuff and I'm like, oh, geez.
Your studio room looks phenomenal. It looks really good. I loved your old one too, though, but this one really
Oh
is
yeah, and even like
perfect.
my setup at my parents' place years ago when I was still living at home. Like I appreciate each little setup I have, but I'm always unsatisfied with how things look. And I'll be editing a video. I'm like, oh, I got to move that, and then I
Oh,
want to
I know it.
showcase this, and I swap things around. And there's two other shelves out of frame here that have, more crapola up there that I wish I could get into frame, but it just gets too busy.
Yeah. I'll stop rambling, but yeah, I know everybody watching this is like that dinosaur looks amazing back there.
But also, it's just going back to our childhood. It's just like everybody loves a damn good dinosaur sculpture or action figure. Yeah.
But dude, one last thing. I'm sorry. That Chucky right there, we got to figure something out. Like we got to see him. better
Well, he used to be up
on the
there,
shelf right there.
and then again swapping stuff out, the new Nightmare Bone Claw,
I
and
get
that's
it. I
why I'm
get it.
like, well, at least he's kind of like being a creep down in the corner. That's why I
That's
got him
true.
there.
That's true. I kept every time I look over, I'd see him and I'd forget he was down there. I'm like, damn, look at the
Yeah.
eyes on that thing.
Yeah, so like I'm thinking maybe moving Fred over to the Bone Claw area. Again, I'm gonna have to like
You'll figure it
strip
out.
it
You'll
all.
figure
Yeah,
it
I'll
out.
figure it out. Dude, I could talk your ear off all day, but for anyone that may not know what you're all about, where can the good people find you?
All right. Yeah. If I could just be a salesman for a second,
Do it.
Planet CHH on YouTube. Uh, I've been at this for a long time, guys. If I'm at 37,500 subs. I want to get 40K by Halloween. And yeah, it's just a number, but at the same time, it's like, man, I'm really starting to push and things are
Mm.
going good. If you guys want to check me out, please check me out. Also, um, please go to Instagram. Follow. You can look me up on Planet CHH on everything. I have a Facebook page and all that. I just kind of use it to keep everybody updated. But go to Uneeda Candles on Instagram. Me and my wife have a small company. We create our own wax melts from scratch, candles from scratch. My wife does all of it in our house. Everything is homemade. Please check us out. Uneeda, like from Return of the Living Dead. Uneeda Candles. Give us a follow. Check us out. Give us a shot. We do ship worldwide, but I'm mostly talking to people in the United States. I mean, if you live in Australia, I can send you a wax melt, but the shipping's gonna suck.
Oh yeah, it'll
So,
cost more than the candle itself.
but give us all I say is give us a shot. Everything we do lasts twice as long as the stuff you get from the store, and we make it fun themed. At this time, which is Thursday for me right now, tomorrow for Friday the 13th, we've got Jason Takes Manhattan candles, wax melt, Friday the 13th, part 7 wax melts, and they smell amazing. Everything's handmade in our kitchen. So give us a shot. Check us out there. And we have our Etsy, uneedacandles.com. So
I'll
I think that's
um
everything.
I'll get the links from you, man. I'll put them in the video description as well.
Yeah, thank you. And I got to get you back on my channel again. I'd love to do a live stream with you.
Yeah.
It's kind of difficult considering when we had to do it. But at the same time, I'd love to bring you back on the channel, dude. I love the interview we did. I know my audience loved it too, and most people already knew who you were when we did it the first time anyway. So it'd be nice to have you pop back on. But congrats on the your new channel. Like I said, I think this is going to be the one for you. And
Yeah. And
you're
look,
you're a pro, dude. I see you doing all this stuff. It's like you're on these interviews and stuff. I'm like, this guy's got it going on. Like,
and that's the thing. I always will love, starting cosplay Chris and stuff like that. I feel like this is the next chapter, like with this channel and stuff like that. So it gives me the good chemical release in my brain, nerding out over props and stuff, and then doing movie reviews and stuff like that. Like I definitely want to hone my craft with film critiques. It definitely is a muscle you got to keep flexing. But then also, talking about Elm Street props, new suit reveals. Like I'm waiting on to see what Momoa looks like as Lobo and Supergirl and stuff like that, man. And eventually when Crystal Lake comes out, well, we get a trailer for that with Linda Cardellini or a new Elm Street. It's just exciting to know what's coming and just stuff like that, man. So I really do appreciate you jumping on here. And yeah, I just love seeing how passionate you are as well. It's just, and that's the thing, like nothing's too nerdy. Niche is great, and the horror community as well is just a beautiful bunch of people.
it really, most of them, but yeah,
Most
absolutely.
of them.
No, everybody is. No, dude, I agree. It's fantastic. I'm just loving life right now, dude. Everything's great, and I'm glad to see your success, my successes, and yeah, there's a lot of exciting stuff coming up, dude. We are living in a golden time right now. I think things are about to really pop off. I think there's going to be movement with Elm Street soon. Part of me doesn't want it. I'm sorry. Like I'm always
Fair.
going to be Robert, but at the same time, I'm not jaded enough to think that my opinion matters that much and I'm just one person. There's going to be more and I'm ready for it. Regardless, we're going to deal with it. We're going to go through it. Let's enjoy the ride cuz the ride's always the best part about it. Not necessarily the movie, but the journey when they know the movie's coming cuz there's the air is different. You know what I'm saying? Like the air is just different. It's rarefied, I guess. So I'm excited, dude. Everything got a lot of cool stuff going on.
100%, man. We're all in this together. Guys, with that being said, drop a comment below and let me know what you guys want to see in the Elm Street 4K box set. And hopefully we get some artwork soon. Love you guts, and I'll catch you in the next one.